Yeah, I'm live now. Okay, you're welcome once again to the question and answer session of our very first lesson on editing and graphics and communication. And what I want to achieve with this is to ensure that we have an interactive session where everyone is able to learn. You understand that? So at this time, I'm going to be reviewing and looking at set of questions from that has come in so far. Why this also give room for you guys to how do I call it now? It gives room for you to ask questions either in the live chat and the question pool. I'm more particular about the question pool. So do well to do the needful there. So you can say hello in the live chat if you are able to, if you're connected on the stream already. So the link has been shared, right? Yeah, the link is now in there. So I'll just share the link on the Telegram. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, I'll pick it from the very first set of questions, and then I'll take it up all the way down. So yeah, I'm just trying something new for you guys. So all right, if you have a live question, I'm going to entertain that in a bit. But for now, let's do what we can do now. Okay. So before I sort of share or start answering question, I have something important that I need to share with you guys. So I talked about in the early days of photography. Hello guys, I can see you guys, I can hear you guys, and sorry, I can hear you on Telegram, but I can see your comment. Hello, well done, live and clear. All right. I hope you have you enjoyed the lecture one, the L1, the initial session. I hope it has been helpful. I hope it makes sense to you. If you have any questions, if you don't want to put it in the open chat, you can put it in the QR code. You can even paste it on either of the both of them. It will just help others learn too. Okay, so now I mentioned something about history that way long before typing, when we want to write letter L, if you have been to places where they make project, where they print on project cover, where they bind books, what they do is that there is a metal, you understand, a metal that is carved out with the inscription letter L. That letter L will then be put on the paint, on the color, and then when you place that letter L on the paper, you have an impression. Impression is a printout. If you get that, say I understand it. If you get that, say well understood. If you get that, say well understood. I'm sharing a photograph with you now on my screen. Can you see? There is a photograph on my screen. Good morning.
So, are we supposed to be on here or watching the YouTube live?
If you have a audio chat, a audio question, you are supposed to be here. If you want to type, you can be on YouTube. So either way works. The most important thing is that everyone is included. Yes, please. Anywhere you prefer to be, be. You understand? The most important thing is that everyone is included. I'm aware that there are some persons who are physically challenged. In fact, is Blossom on this chat at this moment? Blossom. I know I just picked the name Blossom. You emailed me. I sent you some transcript of the previous video. If you're on this chat, I would like to hear your voice. So, I'd like to hear your voice. Please ask me question. I know it may be difficult for you to type online. So this is sort of my effort to make the class inclusive. Look at this guy on your screen. If you're on YouTube, you see him trying to arrange something, right? And he seems to be enjoying what he's doing. This thing he's trying to arrange are the metals, little metals carrying letters, and then you put them together as words. So for example, you have series of L, series of A, series of O, series of V, series of E. If you want to spell the letter love, you have to go to the box where you have. I'm just going to quickly go there so you have a look at it. Usually we have something like this. So they are in batches. Where's my highlighter? Highlighter, yeah. I don't know. Can you see my screen? Yeah. Oh yeah, you can see the color. You see this? This is an example of A, but it can be that just in this particular set, there are only L, yeah? And again, maybe in the next set, okay, I'll use a lesser pen now. Okay, and in this particular set, there are O there, and here there are V, and here there are E. So in order for you to spell the letter love, then you have to come to L, pick one L here. If it is a lowercase, pick lowercase L. If it is an uppercase, pick uppercase L. If it is starting a sentence. Then you go to the box containing O. You go to the box containing V, sorry. And then you go to the box containing E. Then you put them together. When you put them together, how do you do it? You arrange it like this, so that it is already spelled out. Is this making sense to you? I see some people are saying that they are unable to sign in. If you are unable to sign in, it means you came into the class session. You came into the class very late. So, all right. So then you have to arrange each one of them after the order to ensure that they are well aligned. And then what happens after then? You should have something like this. You see, if I want to duplicate a letter, all I need to do is to make this impression on different papers. Is this clear? If it is clear, say clear. If it is clear, say clear. I'm waiting to see if I'm making sense to you guys or not. If it is clear, say clear. Okay, good. All right. Now, when you have something like this, you have a ready make content. So what happened is that by the time you press it, we start reading from where my red laser is all the way to the right, meaning from right to left, right to left. But by the time you make an impression, it becomes left to right. So now, I would like to show you what it looks like exactly on the board. Come here. This is it. We have, I'll make this full screen. Full screen, let's go. Yeah, there you go. And then I don't need this. Okay, good. Look at this. You have a paper right here at the top. This is the paper holder. You understand? The paper is right under this.
I can't see your screen.
If you are on YouTube, if you are on, on Telegram, you can only hear me. You can't see my screen. I'm not sharing screen on Telegram. Does that make sense? So, if you're on YouTube, there is an image I'm presently displaying that you can see. And I can confirm that I can see the same. And that image is an image of what it looks like when you are trying to make an impression. We have different parts. We have the bed. The bed is like the table where everything is sitting. Then the image, okay, I'm going to come back there. What is the image? I picked that question to Milola. I'm going to respond to that. What is the image? So now we have the frame next to the bed. If you have a paper, you can start sketching this. The frame, or you call it form form. It sort of forms, it brings the letters together, hold it together. You understand? Then we have the block. The block is the tip where the impression is. You understand what I'm saying? The block is is like the bottom of the impression. Why this particular gray one, that is darker gray, is the letter making the impression. Next to it is the white aspect of it, which is the paper. You see that the meta type. You see that this is meta type, and then block. It carries the photos, it carries the drawing, carries the text, it carries the what you want to impress. And then at this top is the pivot, which you hold to lift, to push, or to to roll over it to ensure that it is evenly distributed. And then we have the plaiting. So you can open it by lifting it up like this, and then this pivot is a grip that is like the hinges, like your door hinges. So when I say image, what is the image? The image is the result of the impression. The image is the result of the impression. When I say imaging, I'm not so sure you guys are experienced with printing. When you send something by computer to a printer, it sort of sends the digital image to the printer. The printer decode the language, the one and zeros in form of image, and then interpret it and print it out on the paper. So what you have on the paper is the image that you send from the computer. That's what I mean by image. So the image here is what has been put together on this block. What we have here on this block, which we can call the photo, the drawing, the text, whatever it is. Then it is impressed on the paper, the white, and the pivot is holding the paper, so it is flattened. Does this make sense? Say it makes sense if it makes sense to you. I don't think it makes sense. Nobody's typing. I don't think it makes sense. No one is typing. Okay, you don't understand it. Okay, I need to explain it again. Look at this. Imagine my finger. Look at my finger. I have a fingerprint. When I place my fingerprint on a painting, and then I place it on a paper, what happens to the paper? The color will not just be transferred on the paper, but it will carry the impression of my fingerprint. How many of you have done a thumbprint before? A thumbprint, when you do a thumbprint signature. When they scan, if you have, that is an impression. Thank you for saying you have. Is an impression. Now imagine that I have a letter here. Let's take a look at the video. I don't want to do that because of copyright. I can't share a video with you. I'm probably going to share it with you as a link in the Telegram for you to see what it looks like. If I have my palm and I place it on a paint, and then I took off my palm, my palm, and then I get a plain sheet of paper and I place my palm on the paper, what will happen here? Can someone unmute? It will show the color based on the impression on my hand. The same way, if we have set of letters like what I've shown you here, you see this? These are sets of letters. These sets of letters are now there is a roller that they use to roll. They roll it over the surface, so it carries only the top, only the letters sort of takes in the paint. And after they've taken in the paint, they then turn it around and then place it on a paper. That is the impression. So take a moment. Put it on Google. What is impression in print? What is impression in print? You guys need more practical, and I'm going to work on that for you. So this is the bit of it that I wanted to show you. So for you to write any letter, you have to go through this series of boxes. Go through this series of boxes and then pick from it. Now, explaining impression again, I placed using my 5 fingers, put it over a paint. Okay, let me use a bigger camera so you can see me. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I said I placed my finger on a paint and then slam it on a white plain sheet of paper. What will happen to that plain sheet of paper? What will happen to that plain sheet of paper? Now, I believe you can hear me now. If I have a plain sheet of paper like this, I have my fingers, put it on a plain paint, on a paint, whatsoever color it is, and I slam that particular palm on this. What will I have? It will have my handprint. That's it, handprint. Now imagine that I have cuts of metals in the form of letters like L, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, up to the letter Z. And then I put together L, O, V, E. Arrange them together in a particular order. And I put the same metals on the paint. And then I stamp it on here. What will happen? It will show the letters on there. Thank you. My palm will create a handprint impression. The paper will show a letter impression. I'll see what I can use to describe that to you. Okay, I think I have a good example to show you guys now. Okay. Look at this. Can you see my screen? If you can see my screen, the letters will show on the paper. Thank you, Peter Miracle. That's it. That's it. That's it. Good. Now look at my screen. We have, who can spell out this word? If I have a paint and I place this particular metal on the paint and then I stamp it on the paper, what will I have? Who can spell this word out? Put it in the chat if you can spell it out. You see the block. The block is the one beneath holding it. The letter block is the one on top. You see that? That's exactly what I've explained to you. The letters will show on the paper. That was how they were printing in the olden times. That was precisely how they printed in the early days. Tag, okay, tag lat. Good, good, good. Yes, you get it. You get it. Good. You see why when you're looking at it on the plane, this thing is going to be opposite. That's why they call it negative. Negative. That is why it is called negative. By the time you place it on the print, it becomes positive. It will leave an impression on the paper. I hope this has been able to help you. All right. Since some of you have gotten it, for those that didn't get it, if you are using small letter to spell taglat, you are wrong because the capital letter that we use, it means you would have picked the wrong typeface. So you need to be very careful about that. Okay, now I'm going to stop sharing this particular screen. I'll go back to the QR code and then I will be answering questions based on what has been asked in the chat. Okay, in the form. So this is a point where I will put a close to the checkout. I need to put a close to the checkout. Or do you think I should still leave? Oh, reopening the attendance at the beginning? No, I'm not going to open the attendance at the beginning. You have to pay for coming late. You have to pay for that. All right, so this is the QR code, and then I'm just going to come back to show my face. Okay. Good morning, sir. Good morning. How are you? How are you? Fine, sir. And sir, the issue is some of us we went for camp. Like when I just came on, like just let me on my data because we were given a short break in the camp. Reason today is a Good Friday, so we go to camp from Friday till Sunday. So we were given short break. I just let me come online, then I saw the course. So I did not know about the check-in or check-out attendance. Is this not? I know some of my is this not the HOT? Yes, sir. No, that shouldn't have happened, man. Okay, so today is Good Friday, is a public holiday. If you continue to go by the public holiday, you will just realize that you don't have you haven't learned a lot because we've lost many of the most of our time to public holidays. All right, that's okay. So I'm going to reopen the attendance because of this adjustment reason. So that's okay. Why just going to take the questions and then I'll leave. I'll be suspending the Mark 206 class because of the same reason. It didn't occur to me. Oh, too many holidays and lost lessons. Okay, boom. Let's go back there and I'll open it after the question and answer session. So let's keep all ourselves together and be here and for us to finish up this particular question and answer session. All right. So on that note, I'm going back to the questions. So the first question I have here is being subjective a bad thing as an editor? Well, it's not a bad thing. There are advantages of being subjective, and it also has its own disadvantages. When you are subjective, you are following your thinking, you're making your opinion be heard. But it's good to be objective. Subjectiveness just comes in naturally. To be objective is difficult as an editor because you come with your bias. You come with your own thoughts, you come with your belief and more. So it's really difficult to be objective. But it's not a bad thing, but it's not a professional practice. Our next question is, if there is no time to edit, can it still be published, when a well-written work, a well-written work is appreciated, it will always be appreciated. A badly written work would not be appreciated. If there is no time for editing, even if there is no time for editing, you don't want something that will ruin your reputation. So, how can an editor balance shaping meaning while still maintaining objectivity and avoiding bias? How can an editor balance shaping meaning while still maintaining objectivity and avoiding bias? Well, you can do this by ensuring that you check with the writer to ensure what you are editing. Your role is to edit, not to change. To ensure you edit the original thought of of the author to carry it. That's the way you can do it. You have to be always double check. Go back to them. Go back to them. Issue author query. If you are not familiar with what they call author query, there is another course that is on my platform. If you go to courses tab, you'll find manuscript editing. If you're taking it already, you can have it. You already know what I'm talking about. How do we do page analysis? Page analysis. I think we're going to go back to this later, and then we'll attend to this. But page analysis is the ability to look through a page, analyze it, and see what exactly is it communicating, what role is it achieving. Will people be engaged with it? You understand? Are people going to engage with it? What would they see? How will it flow psychologically? How does it appeal to them? How does it appeal to you? If you can hear me, can you confirm that you can hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you. So now, again, I have another question that says, can a design make people believe something even if it is technically true but misleading? Yes, design can be convincing, and it can make someone believe something even when it is not true. There's what they call deep fake. AI is helping do that easily. So the lesson was clear, and someone said that no questions. I'm happy to hear that. So in the historic evolution, is contemporary era any different from the main era or the old era? Yes, it's absolutely different. The way they print in the old generation in the early days is different from how they print in the present generation. So no time is the same. There's evolution and things are changing. We're in digital age now. Impressions are not created the same way before. You can do what they call direct imaging, direct prints, where you print from your computer into to the machine straight. In the old days, you have to use these plates that I've just shown you. Just to show again, you have to use these things in the olden days. But presently, you don't need to do this. There's what they call plates now. It doesn't involve you using manual arrangement of hands. It is done digitally. On the print, it could make an impression on the plate, and the plates. There is a machine behind this guy. It looks like something like this behind him. So then the plate runs over a sort of a cylinder, and then it rolls over paper. That's how newspapers are produced. So things are changing over the time, and today people are even doing what we call direct printing, where you just from computer from the design to print. Someone say, "Can I use lesser time?" Well, I try to make effort to use lesser time. Technically, this lecture is supposed to be 3 hours per meeting, but I've just made it 1 hour. 3 units course means 3 hours. 2 units course means 2 hours. So it's difficult to lessen the time and for you to get the same results. In order for us to achieve the maximum result, that's why I'm using platforms I'm using. Okay. And what is scope of editing? Scope of editing, like I've shared earlier, is like this the boundary of your work. Scope of editing is the boundary of your work. When we talk about scope of editing, we're talking about the context, the context, the context. That's what we mean by scope. The context. Are you editing for newspaper? Are you editing for TV? Are you editing for any other thing? That is what I mean by scope. Again, what is the most important part of editing? The most important part of editing is the editing process itself, doing the work, figuring out and picking out errors, and also suggesting the edit. Suggesting the edit. So another person said, can you expatiate more on the history? I think you have to go back to the video, except if you have a particular question. So go back to the video. The video will be available in the description of this particular one if there's another person who is just coming to see this video for the first time. Another question says that can an headline be both attractive and trustworthy at the same time? Yes, it can be creative, attractive, and be trustworthy. Yes, it can be. It can be. Yes, and let's see if you have any other question. If you have any question online, please, you can please unmute your mic to ask me. Another question here that I have says that in editing, when it comes to headline, how does one know which headline suits a story? Okay, your headline should be able to attract readers first, should be able to communicate or catch their attention within the shortest possible time, and then shorter within 2 to 3 seconds actually, and then it should give us an idea of what the content of the story. You shouldn't use deceptive headlines because you want to catch an audience. Another person says, I don't have okay, can AI be used as can AI be used as in editing? You shouldn't use AI to replace the main editors themselves. It's not a good practice. In the aspect of editing, how does one differentiate between images, illustrations, and diagrams? Okay, good. Images are creative work of art drawn from imagination. From the name image is from the word imagine. Imagine. Imagination. Pictures are paintings. You understand? Pictures are paintings. Illustrations are drawing to explain, to show. Why diagrams are, you're putting some graphs together, bringing them together. These are diagrams. These are diagrams. These are diagrams. Okay. All right. Someone said that I have no question. For the question in the live class, my answer is yes. I have used AI for my reading last semester and it helped a lot. So I trust it to at least 70%. Okay, all right. It's good to know that, but I think I would like to have a chat with you. If you are happy to, write me an email. And then I will send you a link to book a meeting. Okay. What year did the editing military era ended? Well, it's military and era ended in somewhere 1999 when they handed over to Olusegun Obasanjo. I think that was the last military intervention, and that was the end of that era. Yeah, so it ended in Nigeria for Nigeria contest here. It's still happening elsewhere. Another question says, how do you manage to break things down easy? What do you mean by that? How do you manage to break things out easy? I think I need clarity about that. And that question came from Adeleye Oluwafikayomi. I think I need to understand what you mean. Yeah, better. What thing particularly? So, can an author also be the editor of his work? Yes, it's possible, but it's not professional. It's not advisable. Or even if he edits, does it need to submit it to another professional editor? Yes, it's the standard if you are doing a professional process, and it's not very good because oftentimes you don't see the mistakes you have made for by your own self. Okay, someone said that all are types of editing needed for one project. Can we use them, any of them, and get a good result? Well, all the kind of editing can be applied. It's just that one comes after the other. So it becomes they come up for different reasons and different times and at different stages. So, well, newspaper, how did newspaper help with the evolution of editing? Well, newspaper was one of those early reasons why book publishing, printing press emerged. For instance, the printing press in Nigeria actually became very popular because newspaper started, and there was need to sort of circulate it far and wide. Look at the name, printing press. Why? What did they call the press? Press, the newsmen, press. So it's for the reason of mass communication that they needed a press, and that press is the reason. So it has helped because there is need for mass production. So they needed to find a very good medium and how to quickly reach out to as much people as possible. How to edit. You want to know how to edit? Keep following this class. All right. A question says, with the rise of AI tools in media production, the role of editor is shifting from a manual corrector to an algorithmic creator. If AI generates a new story, if an AI generates a new story that is grammatically okay, perfect, but contains subtle implicit bias or factual hallucination, where should the primary ethical and legal responsibility lie? With the developer who built the AI, the media house that deployed it, or the human editor who reviewed the output? The responsibility will be on the human who reviewed the output because that's the only person that is arrestable or the only person who is questionable, person who is going to take the credit. So you have to take responsibility. What are the disadvantages of editing? I think editing have a lot of advantages. I can't think of any disadvantages. The only disadvantage is that it's time taking. Yeah, all editing takes time and delays the process of getting published. So another question says, how can I effectively combine good editing skills with graphic design to create content that is both clear and visually appealing? You have to have patience, have an eye to catch errors. That's the way to go about it. Have an eye to catch errors. And wow, I think I have too many questions there. And, I'm on question 54 and I have 143. Wow. Okay. Okay. All right. So how can I effectively combine? So you need to be have you have to have patience. So your ability, don't just go for beauty. Pay attention to the details, know the content, and read between the lines. When you do this, you'll be able to combine both editing techniques with a graphic technique. Okay. So for if you have need for more historical explanation on evolution, please go back to the YouTube video. I think this is not an history class, it's just giving you some in context. So, how practical will this course be, especially in terms of hands-on experience with graphic design and editing? So, it's going to be very practical. Watch out for it. It's going to be very practical. And the practical session is going to be a live session. So, be on the lookout. So, what is the key difference between traditional newspaper editing and modern editing? Traditional newspaper editing happens on paper. It happens in the early days. It happens the moment where you're laying the bricks, the blocks, and then along the line, it happens on papers using editing signs and symbols. And then in modern digital age, we use track changes. You edit on computer, you edit in Microsoft Word, in Google Docs, and more. So all right. How can I effectively combine good editing? I think I've answered this clearly. All right. Let's see. Is it safe for an editor to write an headline that is meant to criticize? Well, it's about it's not about safe. It's a question of, is it factual? Is it truthful? Safety is a concern where there is no respect for democracy. Where there is no respect for democracy. Does that make sense? So there should be freedom of expression, freedom of speech. So, all right. How can one really edit a large piece of writing without being overwhelmed? Yeah, editing takes time, it takes patience. So you need to do it line by line, presets, line upon line. So you need to do it patiently. It takes time. It takes time. Yes. It can be overwhelming, but you need to do it gradually. An in-depth editing, an in-depth meaning of editing. What is an in-depth meaning? What do you mean by that? If you want to ask question, please ask it clearly. Another question here it says, AI, how can the use of how can the use of AI tools in editing while maintaining, how can AI, the use of AI in editing while still maintaining accuracy, originality, and ethical standards in media production? I think you're trying to ask, how can AI be used even when you are concerned about accuracy, originality? AI, such as Grammarly, is as widely deployed and paid for. We have Quibots, which is within a defined boundary and useful. And then, as an editor, know the limits, know that you need to keep the voice. Know that you need to keep the voice. Can I have some questions on the live chat? I think I'm already getting bored with these questions here. Okay, all right. Let me read it. I think it's going to be interesting. Since the role of media is to check the excesses of government and other bodies, why then does the power of information lie in the government? Oh, why is the editorial body being censored or highly monitored? Well, that's a military era because military regime it comes with restrictions because they have the chances and um there's possibility for them to apply force. So that's it. That's the challenge there with the military era. So there are a lot of restrictions that happens. Censorship because they don't want to be spoken ill of. They don't want to hear bad things about themselves. So these are some of the challenges that come, and there are some democracies too, like we have in the case of yeah. Okay, all right. So someone said, can we stick to Telegram classes? Well, if I stick to Telegram classes, it will only happen live. You won't be able to revisit it. That's the disadvantage. That's the disadvantage. So now you're having Telegram and you're having it even on another channel. I think that's an advantage. Just choose where you want to be. And in the situation where um either of them is not available, make adjustments. It's a learning curve. Okay? It's a learning curve. So do you have anybody who has questions on Telegram? You can raise your hand up. You can raise your hand up and let me know. Okay. Okay, how do someone go about auto query or go back? He needs to go back to my course on manuscript editing, so that is going to help you. You see why I like recording. When you record, you are able to go back to it before exam. You can make some revisions. If you have accessibility issues, we can make transcripts for you. From there, you can make revisions. So it's just simple. It's just easy. I believe learning should not be difficult. We can make things better. Eh? That's my belief, anyway. All right. So my question is that in what ways can editing be used to mislead or manipulate viewers? Okay, look at it. Look at it. Look at it. I can decide. Look at the example I gave in the lecture. I can lie through an headline. I can, in fact, make this very class very difficult. That teaching has become nearly impossible because internet is not available freely on campus because power is unstable or because I don't have resources to even learn because I don't even have the enabling environment. That can be false. It can be misleading because right there's times where there will be light, there are times where there will be internet. It's just unstable. That may be misleading. And that's it even sound manipulative anyway. every individual in this age and time should have broken out of what they call internet poverty. So you understand that? I understand it's still on the increase anyway. All right. So, oh yeah, I think you guys are picking the words. Interesting. Internet poverty, yes. All right. So my question is, you mentioned something about the dimension of social media posting. Please, can you shed light on that, sir? About 1908 or 18, okay, 1080. There is a dimension for YouTube. You know, it's like a TV. It is wide and then the height is short. So the short part, the height, okay, look at my screen at the moment. I'm just gonna switch to show my camera. You can see that my image itself, I'll make that smaller. Okay, just give me a moment. I'm just gonna fit myself into one little box there and send it no matter how funny it looks. Okay, just don't mind it. Good. All right. Okay, let's do it this way. I'm gonna take myself off entirely, make it very small, and put it in here. Have it. Okay, look at that. You can still see me, right? If you're watching it on YouTube, you will be seeing what I'm explaining now. Now look at the dimension of your screen entirely. When you put it on landscape, just like your phone is. In fact, I'll use my phone as an example. Let's switch this to the bigger screen. Look at this. This is a live class happening right here. This screen is on 1920 by 1080. This height, the height here, the height on the side is 1080. The length from here to here is 1920. 1920. So that is the dimension, and that is the dimension for landscape. All right, I think there is something I can do to help. How many of you use Canva? Can you just raise your hand up if you use Canva? How many of you use Canva? Who uses Canva here? If you use Canva, can you put it in the comments? Put it in the comments if you use Canva. Okay, so as more people, if you use Canva, please put it up. I'm trying to get something up for you guys. Browser share, boom. Okay, this is looking like it now. All right, so custom size. I'm just gonna explain to you about something. Um, can you see my screen? Okay, not yet. Just a minute. It helps, it helps, it helps, it helps. Okay, I see where the problem came from. All right, good. Now, let's do this. I'm just going to explain that bit of it again.
Students should try to learn.
What did he say? Okay. Boom. Let's come back here. A quick one. 181080. And this. If you want to do a portrait, you have or Instagram story, Facebook story, the dimension should be 1080
He's
width.
editing something on Canvas, I think.
Someone, your mic is unmuted. You that is talking is editing something. Can you mute your mic, please? Thank you. So, and the height should be 1920. So this will give you, if you want to design something with for Instagram story, if when I click on Instagram story, it comes here. So give me a portrait like your phone. If you are doing it for posts, you come here. This is a template. It says
Hello, good
something like
afternoon,
this.
sir.
Hi, good afternoon.
Can you recap again? Sorry.
Okay, what I'm saying is that a question came and it says, can you mention something about the dimension for social media posting? Can you shed more light on what you mean by it's 1080 1920? So I'm trying to explain this using this particular example. And if you can see my screen at the moment, I am putting together a clear description of what this would mean to anybody that cares to know. So, let's put it this way: graphics, the screen share. Just put my head somewhere there. Put it somewhere there. Let's go. There you go. So you can see me at the top right hand side. Okay. So if you want to design for whatsoever platform, you need to know what platform you're designing for. When you know what platform you are designing for, then you can decide what formats to use. Let's say I want to design for a platform and I know the format. I will go to the custom size. If I'm doing a video, it's usually in 1920 by 1820. But then you will not know because it is not written here. So I'll go to custom again and then type it 1920 width height 1080. You'll see to show all the formats that you can do like that. They are all landscape. If I click on any of this, for example, presentation, video, desktop wallpaper, you see that each of these are in landscape. Look at it. This is in landscape. Okay, this is in landscape. You see that? I'll close it. Another one here, video is in landscape. This is another video in landscape. Now, story is 1080, opposite of that 1920. It will change to Instagram story, phone wallpaper, Facebook story, presentation, or any other thing like that. For as long as it is portrait. For as long as it is portrait. When you click on it, it's going to show you portrait view. It's going to show you portrait view. You see that? That is the dimension. Okay, let me rush down. That is that about that aspect of things. Let's come back to where we were. I hope this is making sense to you. Okay, good. Someone said they want more about editing. Maybe not now. Go back to the video. If you have any specific question, ask me. Can someone who is not learned edit? No. Someone who is not learned cannot edit because they won't know what to edit. So why is editing not a sophisticated profession? if it has a purpose. It is a very sophisticated. In fact, I have a platform where I sort of okay, I graduated with my PhD without corrections. That was the big story behind the platform. And a lot of people were reaching out to know how I did it from a UK prestigious university, University of Kent. It was an excellent one. There was no correction whatsoever. So that led to inspired me to start a platform where build a business around it called AfriScribe. And I could just share with you. This is a platform. What it does is that it is empowering African academic publishing. So that's what it does. So the thing is, proofreading is a big business. Yes. The first work I got, the first job I got after even before finishing this website, I also developed this website myself, was is worth over 1.8 million naira. Just one work done within 3 weeks. I think it's around 800 and something pound. So yeah. So as at that time, the exchange rate was almost 18,200. So it's nearly 2 million naira. To read over how many pages? I think about 300 pages of work. So it's a professional work. Do it seriously and do it professionally. Okay, so it's a sophisticated profession and it should be taken seriously. So take this seriously. All right. I think most people don't have questions again, except if there's anybody who is lively on Telegram who have questions. How are we to submit our assignments? The assignment, I will give you instruction on that. Can analog graphics be relevant today? Well, it's relevant for historical references only, not actually for true application. But it still works, but it's not very practical. So someone said, okay, it needs more clarification on historical evolution. This question is coming up more and more. I'll provide some things. So what happens when you are being subjective? It means you are being biased. It doesn't help anyone. It always emphasize your own view. So someone said, are AI tools trustworthy tools for editing because AI makes mistakes sometimes too? Yeah, AI always makes mistakes. It's not sometimes, always, 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 always. Yeah, you need to be very, very, very careful. So AI tools are not trustworthy, but you can use them. It depends on we just like master servants. The master determines how to use the servant. If you use him well, you get the result. If you don't use him well, you have bad results. So sir, he said, I don't get clearly about the image you explained. Image is the impression, is the result of what you have printed. Yeah. Okay. How do someone easily differentiate between different types of editing in different types of editing in class? It depends on which is the most kind of error that you can see there. It will determine the kind of editing that you recommend. Nothing really. Oh, okay, okay, okay. I think that's all. What are the forms of graphics? You have 2D, 3D, yes. 2D is two dimension, 3D is three dimension. Could you please explain what you meant when you said course unit depends on, yes, when they say course unit, if they say 2 unit course, that course is meant to be taught for 2 hours. When it is a 3 unit course, it means it's carrying 3 units. So if they are teaching for 2 hours and each credit is carrying just two points, whatever score you get is graded and organized into a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 points. So those 5 points will be multiplied by the number of units. If you have been taught for 3 hours per time, it's going to be multiplied by 3. If you have been taught for 2 hours per time, it's going to be multiplied by 2. So it's actually inappropriate way to be taught for 2 units or 3 units, because this is a 3 unit course, and you really can achieve much if you're not taught more. Is AI the best and perfect editing tools? No, AI is not the best. It's not the perfect editing. Is subjective editing also known as developmental editing? No, it's different concept. Yeah. Developmental editing is structural editing. Substantive editing is similar to it. It can involve developmental editing. So it's stripped very similar, but it's not the same. How to edit with Microsoft Word? Yeah, you have to watch some videos on that. Yeah, this is not a class where to teach you that. Okay, that is all about the questions I've got on my Excel on live and 156 responses out of over 200 people. So at the moment now, I'm going to open that particular form. Yes, I'm opening it now. So enjoy. It's going to be open until I'll just open it till. Let's do. What's happening on Monday? That should be Easter Monday, right? Good Friday, Easter Monday, Tuesday. Okay, until Tuesday. It's going to be open till Tuesday. Do what you need to do. So it's now scheduled open till Tuesday. All right. Ensure you check out. Ensure you check out. Guys on Telegram, do you have any question for me on Telegram? Okay, no questions. So have a beautiful